Over on Jaguar Gator 8, a new college football video is out. Click the card in the upper right corner to watch. And now, on with our feature presentation. February 13th, 2022. Super Bowl 56 at SoFi Stadium between the Los Angeles Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. Sure, a lot of people care about this game, and watched a great game nonetheless, where the Rams won it in the final 2 minutes to win their second Super Bowl in franchise history. However, for a lot of people, they were watching for one reason, and one reason only: the halftime show. They were watching for one of the biggest hip-hop performances of all time. And in a widely praised halftime show that went down immediately as a top 10 or even a top 5 halftime show ever, over 103 million people, which was more than the average audience during the game, watched Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar take the stage and perform some of their biggest hits. It was the first hip-hop performance ever, and it was a resounding success. And the final solo performer to take the stage was none other than Eminem, when he performed his critically acclaimed 2002 hit, Lose Yourself. I don't think anyone thought we'd ever see Eminem performing front and center at the Super Bowl halftime show, just because of his subject material. But here we were. The performance was a true reminder of just how great Eminem was, and how successful his career was. But what you might not realize is that this performance by Eminem was not the first time that his music was involved in some way with the NFL. Because when he was just starting out in 1999, the NFL decided to use one of his songs in a commercial of theirs. And what ensued was one of the dumbest and stupidest controversies ever, where literally no one in the entire league offense did their due diligence or had any idea as to what they were doing. Because in 1999, the NFL put together what had to be the most controversial commercial that they ever made. And this is the story behind the controversy. Before I talk about the actual commercial in question, we need some context to understand the landscape of the NFL, as well as the dilemma that they were in. And to do this, we have to understand the television ratings for the NFL, and in particular, Monday Night Football. In 1998, these ratings were, shall we say, not good. There were many reasons why the ratings were poor, including the rise of Monday Night Raw and the emergence of WWE, the fact that the creation of NFL Sunday Ticket meant that Monday Night Football was no longer your only exposure to out-of-market teams, the fact that a ton of games were blowouts, with the average margin of victory being 15.6 points, and 7 games ending with the winner winning by 20 plus points, and just the emergence of cable television, the internet, and other entertainment options in general, segmenting the market. Whatever the case, and whether it was one specific thing or a combination of things, the ratings in 1998 were at a 13.9. That was the lowest Nielsen rating in the 29-year history of Monday Night Football, which is obviously the last thing that you want to see if you're an NFL executive. The NFL needed to find a way to increase the ratings, and get that younger audience that was not watching the NFL anymore due to a ton of their star players retiring and due to other entertainment options rising up, to watch the games. Because the lower the ratings, the lower the money that the league is making. What's one way that you can do that? Well, you can launch commercials and try and spread the good word that way. Now, how do you appeal to the younger market? One way to do that is through popular music. Kids are watching TV. They hear a song that they like and that they know, they look up at the screen, and maybe they'll be interested in what you have to sell to them, since kids are highly impressionable. With that in mind, the people responsible for crafting advertisements for the NFL got to work, and created 4 different spots featuring popular music. The advertising campaign, called Feel the Power, was a way to bridge that gap, and this campaign in particular, called Common Denominator, would use game clips of NFL films set to music with a particular theme. Howard Handler, the Senior Vice President of Marketing of NFL Properties, said on the campaign, "When we were talking to people in focus groups, this notion of understanding how we got to this place and how the stars of today stack up to the legends of yesterday was something that really resonated relative to the millennium." Again, they made 4 ads, 3 of which I could not find clips of and didn't do anything of note. But fortunately for us, we're not here to talk about those 3 spots that have been lost throughout NFL history. We're here to talk about that 4th spot. Oh, the controversial 4th spot. Now, the concept for this ad was incredibly simple, and was a nice way to bridge the gap between the younger generation and the game. Think of all the great players and figures in NFL history. What do a lot of them have in common? Oddly enough, a lot of them were named Joe. Heck, Maybe you thought of a Joe right away. You have Joe Montana, who by this point in 1999 was considered by a ton of people as the greatest quarterback to ever play the sport. He was an 8-time Pro Bowler, a 2-time MVP, a 4-time Super Bowl champion, a 3-time first-team All-Pro, and was going to be the following year a clear-cut first-ballot Hall of Famer. You had Joe Namath, Broadway Joe himself, the Hall of Fame quarterback who was regarded by many as the greatest quarterback in American Football League history, and who engineered the biggest upset in the history of professional football that helped give credibility to an entire league. If you want to learn more about his legendary career, click the card in the upper right corner. You have Mean Joe Green, arguably the greatest defensive tackle in NFL history. He was a 10-time Pro Bowler, an anchor on the Steel Curtain defense for the Steelers in the 1970s, a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, and a Hall of Famer. You have Joe Gibbs, the legendary Washington coach that won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. You can learn more about his incredible career by clicking the card in the upper right corner. The list goes on and on. Basically, a lot of really important figures in the history of the NFL were named Joe. If only there was a song out there where you could have, hypothetically speaking, someone ask what your name is, and you can respond by saying that your name was Joe. But there's no way that a song like that exists, right?
Hi, my name is what? My name is Slim Shady.
Oh yeah, what a coincidence. In 1999, Eminem released the lead single from his second album, the Slim Shady LP. This single was called My Name Is, and it had one of the catchiest and most recognizable hooks of 1999, where Eminem says that his name is Slim Shady. This was Eminem's breakthrough single, and the one that really put him on the map, making him a prominent figure in pop culture. The song went 3 times platinum in the United States, became a top 10 hit across Europe, and was the first song that Eminem had that charted on the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States, peaking at number 36. So the NFL had an idea. What if we use the chorus of that song and just take out all the things that Eminem calls himself and replace them with the word Joe? With that, the NFL created an ad campaign called My Name is Joe, which was used to promote their product, and in particular, promote whatever game was taking place on Monday Night Football that week. And this was the end result. Roll the tape.
Hi, my name is Joe. My name is Joe.
Come on, Joe.
Me, Joe. Hi, my name is Joe. My name is Joe. My name is Little Joe. Hi, my name is Joe.
Excuse me.
Joe. My name is
Billy Joe.
Can I have the attention of the class? My name
For
is
one
Joe. My name is
Broadway Joe.
Hi, my name is Joe. My name is Joe. My name is
Joe.
The commercial seemed like a hit, and seemed like it aligned perfectly with the league's mission and what they were trying to do. Reception to the ad was positive. A survey showed that it was the most popular advertisement that the NFL had among men, and was the second most popular advertisement overall. I don't know how much exactly the ad had to do with it, but you might have noticed at the end of the advertisement that it was promoting the Cowboys-Vikings game on Monday Night Football. That game turned out to be the highest rated Monday Night Football game of the year, and the highest rated regular season game of the year as well, drawing a 16.2 rating. So the NFL had a winner, right? The advertising department did their job. They had an ad that they could use for the rest of the season, and they were in a really good spot. Well, not quite. Because a few days after running the ad, someone at the NFL realized something. They realized that the song wasn't quite as innocent as that snippet. The actual song? Yeah, it was much darker than they realized. It's really important when you're a league spending all this money on advertising, especially for something like this where the licensing fee has to be ridiculously expensive, that you do your due diligence. In this instance, due diligence is simple. Just listen to the song. Yet, and I cannot believe this, literally not a single person in the NFL listened to the full song. Someone just suggested that, hey, there's this fun little snippet of the song that will work for a commercial. Everyone else went along with it, and that was that. But one day, someone in the league office listened past the introduction to the song, and listened to the whole 4-minute and 28-second version. And to say that they were mortified would be an understatement. The absurd part is that it's not like this was a secret. The song received tons of controversy when it was released, and the single cover and the album cover literally have a parental advisory sticker on it. However, if you've never listened to the song My Name Is, it's not exactly a song about Eminem telling people what his name is. The song includes some rather shocking lyrics, with literally the first line of the verse asking kids if they like violence. Lyrics include, among a lot of curses, Eminem trying to figure out which Spice Girl he wants to impregnate, committing teenage suicide at the age of 12 by hanging himself with a belt from the top bunk, smoking a fat pound of grass, smacking Pamela Lee down, hitting a teacher and stapling his nuts, sticking his penis in the tip cup at a strip club, having a mom who does drugs, slitting the throat of his dad, and daring someone to drive after drinking a fifth of vodka. Other than that, and other than the fact that the lyrics make references to teen suicide, LSD, marijuana use, rape, assault, and drunk driving, it's a completely family-friendly song. And the original version of the song included lyrics deemed so sexist and so homophobic that Eminem wasn't even allowed to release the song until those lyrics were removed. And somehow, not a single person at the NFL office heard the song in full. They heard the snippet, never thought to look further at the song that they were spending tons of money to get the rights to license in a commercial, and only after launching the campaign did they realize that this might be a problem. Now I should note that I could not find a single article or find a single writer who was legitimately offended by the fact that the NFL used this song in the background of their commercial, myself included. I have no problem with the spot. Heck, I think it's a really clever spot, and a pretty unique concept that ties the new generation with the old generation well. But the NFL wanted to play it on the safe side, and immediately after hearing the full version of Eminem's smash hit, decided that they were going to pull the advertisement, with Sarah Levinson, the president of NFL Properties, immediately ordering the ad to get pulled. As NFL spokesperson Chris Widmeyer said, in what has to be one of the funniest statements I've ever heard considering the circumstances, the lyrics are drastic. I don't believe anybody knew all the lyrics. I'm cracking up at that. What do you mean no one knew all the lyrics? You didn't need to know all the lyrics. You just needed to listen literally 5 seconds past the introduction to realize, hey, wait a second, this song might not be so clean after all. You're telling me in the entire league office, with the hundreds of employees that you have, that not a single person listened to the song before you got the rights to it? He then added, there was never any intent for association between a harmless spot back to the lyrics of this song. Again, no one was making this association. The ad was positively received, and I could not find one negative article or one negative critique even making that association. You probably had a ton of people in 1999, particularly on the older side, who were saying My Name Is and having no idea what it was from. Heck, even Widmeyer said, as these things bubble up through popular culture, they lose their sting. The ad doesn't tie back to the song. No one was making this connection but you. Even Joe Gibbs, who was in the ad, said via his assistant, Cindy Magnum, surely the NFL didn't know what that song was about, or they would not have risked their relationship with Joe Gibbs. That song is not what Joe Gibbs is about. You were the ones that decided out of nowhere to make a mountain out of a molehill. And if it bothered you that much, then you literally just needed to listen for 5 more seconds past the snippet. If you can't be bothered to do that, and you're working in advertising for a company like the National Football League, then you don't deserve to have a job. The ad was pulled, and the NFL was reluctant to associate themselves with Eminem again until more than 2 decades later, when the halftime show took place. So what's the moral of the story? If you're going to create an advertisement, and you're going to use a piece of music, for the love of all things good and pure, listen to the song first. I do more research to figure out what brand of toilet paper I should buy than the NFL did to figure out whether the song they used was appropriate. Use the Eminem song, or don't use it. It's your call. But if you're worried about whether the lyrics are appropriate, and whether you want to associate yourself with that song, then do the smart thing and, I don't know, actually listen to the lyrics first. Safe to say, not a single person in the NFL office did that. Because the moment they realized what the song was actually about, everyone panicked. Everyone's palms were sweaty, their knees were weak, and their arms were heavy. Get your official Jaguar Gear 9 merchandise by going to jg9shop.com, and be sure to like this video, ring the notification bell, and subscribe down below if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out Twitch every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for your chance to play NFL Trivia and win cash prizes. Link in the description below. If you want to see videos like this condensed down to 60 seconds, then follow me on TikTok at JaguarGator9. To see college football videos, subscribe to JaguarGator8. To see highlight videos of players throughout the history of the NFL, subscribe to JG9 Highlights. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.